If we are live yet, give it a minute, let it load up. Hopefully it starts here shortly. Is a fake start or a real start? You never know with YouTube. They do a lot of fake starts on me that run for 30 seconds. I don't think this is a real one yet. Looks like it was a false start. Give it a minute. And, hopefully this loads up in a second. There we go. Finally loaded, and we are live. Hey, everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Thought I would sit down and do a video for you guys and gals. Let me give you guys a bicep shot before we get started. Oh, Mount Bicephalus. But quick reminder for those chiming in, if you guys would please click the Facebook link in the description. Follow me on Facebook also, not just on the YouTube. I would greatly appreciate it if you guys would click that like button. Also, I have 3 coaching slots open right now for coaching clients if anyone wants to apply. A lot of times I only have 1 or 2. I got 3 right now, ready to take people on, can get people started this coming week if they need. All right, I'm going to briefly chat with you guys about a topic, and then we will entertain your questions and have a little bit of fun. All right, up front, the whole training 3 days a week and these arguments about the high volumes and everything. I'm sorry, guys. People can talk about all they want with current and newest research claiming that these high volumes are going to produce massive amounts of muscle growth. They're way better, like double, like doing moderate volume. The evidence has never supported that. People need to keep in mind their sample sizes are tiny. They're oftentimes novice lifters, and they draw pretty sweeping conclusions from these very small studies. Furthermore, why did it take this long to find this out? In other words, how do they reconcile that with all those old studies 10 years ago, 15 years ago that showed going over 10 sets in some cases caused less muscle growth? People got less gains in some cases. Multiple different studies showed that. So there's a lot of problems with a lot of this data, but I want people to step back and think about the real world. When you observe various jack people, have there been people who built crazy, ridiculous, amazing physiques training 3 days a week for an hour or less? Yeah, I've known some. Are there people who did the opposite and trained 4 hours a day, 6 days a week, and also had crazy, ridiculously jacked physiques? The answer is yes. But if you really step back and you look at that and say, okay, I'm going to look at every hardcore bodybuilder I've ever met with an amazing physique, every high-level power lifter, and you look at those extremes, is there necessarily a bias? Like, do you look at those and go, oh, yeah, man, 10 times as many people got great results doing one versus the other? The answer is no. I've seen a pretty reasonable split among really high volume and really low volume and frequency training and still producing amazing results. And here's what I'm going to say with some of that. And again, observing it over a long time, observing this for decades, it just comes down to quality of work. It really is that old argument, that old school argument of volume versus intensity. The people who are getting phenomenal results with the really high volumes usually just don't train hard. Therefore, they need the volumes to do it, and it works. The people who do the stuff like, I'm going to train 3 days a week and do 6, 8 sets of body part, they usually train really, really, really hard. Okay. And that's what I mean. And when I say crazy physiques, I am literally talking people who you're like, they look just as good as any of these influencers you see now with their lighting on tons of gear. And I've also seen people, who squat and deadlift 700, 800 pounds, bench 500 pounds raw, who train in those sort of manners too. Like, I train for an hour Monday, Wednesday, Friday, and that's it. So therein lay the problem. P-Money, Red Bull's bad for you. I don't know. What's in them? I don't really know. I don't have an answer to that. I appreciate the donation, but I don't actually really know because I don't think I've looked at the ingredient list on a Red Bull at any time in the last 10 years. So you need to know what's in it. Figure out what's in it and look and see, is it actually bad for you? If it's got a bunch of refined sugar in it, like the non-sugar-free ones, I can tell you that's bad for you. Not because it's a Red Bull, but because it's full of table sugar. Okay. That's what you need to look at instead of the name. Look and see what's in it. All right, Blyett man. It's like Suka Blyett. What about twice a week or once a week, specifically in the context of athletes who have prioritized skill training? But we're talking about prioritizing skill training. Skill training is not necessarily building muscle. In fact, it isn't building muscle. But even then, we talk about skill training, but we come back over to what about the power lifters who I mentioned who do a squat, bench, and deadlift day every week and bench 550 and squat 750? I mean, are they getting enough skill work? Or are we going to stand back and go, yeah, what a weak ass pussy, man, benching 550 in a t-shirt? See, my grandma could do that. Maybe he needs more practice, you know? But even then, skill work can be addressed separately in a strength sport. But again, we come back over to, are you talking about skill work or are you talking about your gym time? In other words, do you need to practice dribbling a basketball? Do you need to practice swinging a bat? Well, yeah. Is that the same as doing a bench press or a curl to build your muscles? No, absolutely not. Right? Dan the dentist said, I noticed at the beginning that you used to train at night. What time of day? In the beginning? When did I train at night in the beginning? You mean midway through? I was training in the daytime, in the mornings when I first started doing YouTube, right? I was training at night for reasons completely unrelated to my training at all when I was doing that at night about, what was that, 8 or 9 years ago, I guess. I guess it's been that long. Now I see why you're calling it the beginning. I'm standing back thinking, what do you mean I had YouTube for years before that happened? What are you talking about in the beginning? Like I was in another country doing YouTube for a couple of years before I came back to Texas and then did the thing at night. I only did that for a few months, honestly. Let's get rid of this guy down here. All right. Hey, Jason, are you ready for your next comp with this time? It's just sitting in front of me. Oh, gosh. P Money says, are energy drinks in general bad for you? I don't know because I don't know what's in them. I'm probably not the best person to ask that because I just count refined junk as a thing. Like I don't eat stuff like that, so I don't really know what's in them. You know, I'm again maybe the wrong person to ask because when you say an energy drink, I don't really know what's in energy drinks. I don't really buy things like that and consume them. All right, Blaha Man says, I mean, for sports athletes who want to implement strength training. Blaha, I still don't understand what you're asking me. When skill work, then work on your sports skills. Yes, if you want to get good at dribbling a basketball, you should probably do it every day, but it's not what we're doing in the weight room. All right. Simon says, how many extra sets do you do for forearms a week? I saw you doing reverse forearm curls. I haven't trained any forearms in months, so I'm going to go with 0. Unless we count hammer curls every now and then. Woob says, most women, I have no idea why are we discussing what you think women like or what you think women are into in our training thing? That's its own set of topics. And here's the thing, Wooby. Do you think women are all clones of each other? That's what it sounds like to me. All women think exactly the same and have the exact same taste in everything. Their favorite color is always blue. They all prefer a man who is exactly 5'11 and a half. Weird ideas. Mike, I don't know why you keep asking me about the Jefferson curl. I clearly don't know what it is, and I clearly don't really care about it that much, to be honest. Why do we need all these new weird names? Like, honestly, that's its own topic right there. Quit giving these stupid new names to exercises. Like, it gets confusing. We don't need all of this. if you're going to do something that's a whatever, let's just call it based on the function at this point, because people are just continually adding this new. We have a Jefferson. What makes it a Jefferson? It was invented by George Jefferson. George Jefferson invented a curl, but not for your biceps. Like, why can't we just give stuff normal names? But you just said it's a deep deficit RDL. So, I mean, that's a perfect example. Why wouldn't you just ask me, what do you think about deep deficit Romanian deadlifts? Why do you have to come up with some weird ass name like calling it a Jefferson curl? Or did some YouTuber come up with this name last week? Just throwing it out there, guys. Let's keep it real. Dan says, I haven't been following you that long since training out in the garage, and some of the videos in the garage is at nighttime. Oh, no, that's not nighttime, dude. That's like 5 a.m. Those were like wintertime at 5 or 6 a.m. It's not nighttime. Now I can see why there's confusion. Rondo says, I usually just work out first thing in the morning to get it out of the way, mostly done by 10 a.m. Yeah, I'm usually done way before 10 a.m. Apu, man, that's so, why do you even care? One of my clients forgot that he was allowed to have monthly calls. He hadn't had one in like 9 months and just hit the button to call me, go, Coach, I haven't been scheduling my monthly calls. I just decided to call you, and he didn't realize I was in live. So I ended up just chatting with him for an hour. Because that's the thing with the clients. Occasionally I get one of those, it's an emergency call, and they assume that they just call me out of the blue and my device is ringing from a client. It might be a client emergency. But in that case, it wasn't. Because I have them set up to kind of get to me quick if they need to. Because they're paying clients. But no, he just did that because I have it set to where it's an optional thing. It's like I offer, these are the services for coaching, but you don't have to take advantage of all of it. Like I give people an hour a month and video calls as part of the coaching, but if they choose not to use it, we don't use it. He laughed and said, I totally forgot I haven't called you in like 9 months. So I ended up just giving him the hour right there on the spot, and we just chatted. My back is bigger. Says Jason, the newest biggest influencer is Togi. Has anyone like? No, like what genre is he even in? Is he a fitness person? Would he even be someone I would discuss? Go Jag says, do you know if you've impinged your shoulder or something like that? Felt a sharp pain in my shoulder after doing weighted chin steps today. But feel nothing now. Sorry if this is vague. This is vague and unanswerable. You could go look up some assessments to check yourself to see if you have signs of impingement. There's assessments you can do with raising your arms at different angles and checking to see where it hurts. Thomas Riley says at 49, doing heavy singles and pump work is a game changer for me. Yeah, pretty much. Coach, what happened? Why day is all okay? I don't understand your question. T. Kazan says, hey, Jason, in your vlogs, I see you do training max singles for big three. Any reason you don't do overhead press, training max weight and pull up? Mainly because I just don't care. They're not so much contested lifts that I really care about. I mean, the press is technically a contested lift in a tiny sport that no one follows, and their strict press isn't even a strict press. It's a weird variation of the push press where you use hip drive instead of knee drive, whatever, dude. So I just stick with the classic ones. They handle everything I need for maximum strength development, really. All right. All right. What? Wooby says, in my opinion, if a person's muscles deflate, if UPS doesn't make it their house, it's not real muscle. Sorry, coach. Well, okay. Because you're talking about transient storage factors rather than myofibrillar growth. but I don't discuss gear anymore to explain the difference. So how long do you need after waking up before you can perform 100% lifting? What about rehydration in the morning and so on? I don't think it's set number, man. You can train right out of bed if you want. Cup of coffee and just go get under the barbell, man. Pretty straightforward. Why does everyone think they need to prepare to lift? Are you out of shape? I mean, no, I'm serious. Why do people think that you need to be prepared in some level to go work out? If I don't get this certain warm up, if I don't get all this magical hydration and this pre-workout, drink a cup of coffee. If you can't drink a cup of coffee and go hit a max right out of bed after 3 or 4 singles to warm up, you're out of shape, guys. Maybe work on that. I mean, I don't have problems doing that stuff, dude. There are literally times where I've walked in and hit a 600 deadlift less than an hour after I got out of bed and without even eating anything. Limitless will, Blaha. I want to go from 25% body fat to 12. How long will this take? How long is a piece of string? That's not a set answer. My back is bigger is talking about this. What was his name? Tommy. He's a fitness influencer. He's basically the new Sam Saluk. He's the new Sam Saluk. Sam Saluk is new. There is no new Sam Saluk. He's a child who's been online like only a year or 2. He is the new whatever. Like Sam Saluk might be kind of the new Rich Piana, but you can't have a new Sam Saluk when Sam Saluk is a short timer. All right. Dan versus Dennis. Preparing to lift is like preparing to smash. You got to get your head in the game. Sometimes you've got too many distractions. What? Dan, you're telling me you can't be ready to perform and smash also with a girl at the drop of a hat? We need to have maybe a talk about that. You might need a consultation on that. I don't normally give relationship advice, but man, it sounds like you must have really high blood pressure, bad health, or some major psychological hangups if you have to be prepared to smash. Instead of your woman says, hey, hop 2. And you perform right there like a light switch. That's your job. Like, seriously, as a man, that is kind of on your duty list to be prepared instantaneously like that. TKS, is it common for tricep tendon pain to prevent you from doing pull-ups? Yeah. Will you ever have miso soup? It's low in calories, great for deficit cutting, very famous dish. No, I'm not interested. You asked me a lot of stuff about Indonesia. I'm sorry. I know I'm not trying to be offensive. I'm just not that interested in what's happening in Indonesia, man. It's not my scene, dude. I'm sure there are some lovely people from Indonesia. I'm sure there absolutely are. It's just, not on my radar. I don't know any people from there, even where I live. A lot of Chinese people where I live. All right. Thoughts on high sodium diets? How much per day is too much? Well, you can go look at what the recommended guidelines are by the American Heart Association for different things. You can assess your genetics and your tolerance for sodium to potassium ratio. That's a very individual question. Do you think there will be another Arnold? What do you mean? The sport of bodybuilding, you need to be very specific in what you mean by another Arnold. Where there'll be another guy who makes bodybuilding famous when almost no one knows that it exists and become an actor. Well, there can't be, because that's already been done. People are aware bodybuilding is a thing, right? The average person knows that there is a competition called bodybuilding where men get up in their bikinis and build a lot of muscle and diet down and flex and pose against each other. People are aware of this. Like Arnold brought that into the mainstream. So technically, no, there can't be another Arnold unless there's social amnesia. And they forget that there's this thing called bodybuilding. The average person knows the term. That's kind of what put him on the map. He was the first real true bodybuilder of that caliber, like competing in a Mr. Olympia to really get famous. Before that, there were just a few. They were just people didn't think of them that same way. They had a little bit of the action heroes like Steve Reeves and Reg Park for being Hercules and stuff like that, but they didn't break through the same way, right? P Money says, I'm a boxer. Can I gain muscle lifting twice a week doing compound lifts? Okay. Well, P Money, let's remove the I'm a boxer part. Is something magical to where boxers find it more difficult to gain muscle than other humans? Because I'm going to say Mike Tyson might disagree with that. Vander Holyfield, all those greats back in the day. Those guys got jacked. I'm pretty sure boxing doesn't prevent you from gaining muscle. So the question becomes, can you gain muscle lifting twice a week doing compound lifts? Yes. Limitless. There is no person who uses that name. All right. Dan versus a dentist. Still your job, man. Family of you. What a weirdo. This same guy back in here always. I'm not even going to ban him. It's not like he's an offensive troll. You know what? I'm going to leave this guy. I'm just going to answer him, family of you. No, Rich Piana is not my identical twin brother. And next he'll ask me if Tom Platz is my father. This guy always asks these same questions. He's been doing it for like 10 years, by the way. He just makes new accounts over and over and over and over to ask me if Tom Platz is my father and if Rich Piana is my brother, or if they're my parents. Right? He's been doing this every day for a decade. All right. Rondo says, personally, I think Christian men should hold themselves to a higher standard. Just having their meat stick ready to use, we can say no. It's not one of their code of honor. Rondo, what does that have to do with your relationship with your woman? If your woman, I said that earlier, is ready, you need to be ready. That is your job. Okay, Limitless, your question. There is no person named Alpha Destiny. Sorry. Oh, you meant Alexander Leonidas. Do you know what Mike Tyson's gym routine is? No, it was always different stories depending on who you asked over and over and over. Tyrone says, Jason, what are your thoughts on the Flexicon? He got the Matrix of Leadership after Megatron died, right? It's like the new Decepticon leader. I wasn't Starscream, or do they call Starscream Flexicon or Flexitron after he got the Matrix of Leadership? I don't know. Yeah, big back. Yeah, if they're not offensive, because I get enough offensive ones, I'll just let the guy run with it, dude. Apu, yeah, I mean, he's been doing it literally for a decade, like over and over. And I tried responding to him just to see if he would respond with anything different, about 19, 20 different times over the years. and he'll just kind of re-ask the same questions again. Like he's not actually capable of even having a dialogue. So you'll notice if you're watching the thing, he won't even be able to say anything like a normal line. He will be completely incapable of replying with a normal sentence. It's really, really fascinating. So yeah. So he's obviously something wrong. Semina said, I thought hydration the most important thing for performance, even more. Well, drink a cup of coffee, man. Were you ever thought about streaming on Twitch? No, because I don't really know what Twitch is. It's like a gaming platform or something I hear people talk about. I've never actually seen Twitch personally. Tyrone Hansen says, Body Elastics Flexicon. It's a new gym equipment that, I'm sorry, dude, I've never heard of it, man. Why do we need even more new? Is the existing companies not good enough? I mean, is Rogue not getting it done? Is Alico not getting it done? What's the problem here? My back is bigger. Says, every time Mike is asked about his lifting routine from back in the day, he says, it was 30 years ago. I'm a boxer and I remember my matches. Exactly. OP money. Hold on. Let's see. All right. So here's the trick. Watch this. I got a banning from a different comment that lets me keep the money if I do that. All right. I'm going to keep your money. Keep your money. All right. Papa. All right. Let's get rid of some. Oops. Hold on. We got to get rid of a little bit of that. There we go. Rondo says Twitch is a better live streaming platform. Yeah, but it doesn't feed my YouTube. In YouTube. That's barely the issue. I've already got 2 platforms, man. I don't need a third. I can do my Facebook. I got my YouTube. I don't need another platform on top of it. I mean, unless they want to offer me a fat contract. Tyrone Hansen said, it came from my feed. Just curious if you heard of it. No, dude, I've never heard of it. But, if you start investigating every new piece of gym equipment that comes in your feed, it's going to turn into a 100-hour work week for you. Like, nobody has time for that. Dude, the amount of just nonsense, new, just silly goofball garbage I see because I'm subscribed to so much fitness stuff would blow your mind. Just the sheer stupid newest monkey feet booty band, blah, 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 band only. I use this bow to look like I'm on 2 grams of test and growth hormone. It's just nonstop. Right? It's nonstop. Nobody has time to investigate all that. The sport of bodybuilding, do you think Arnold Schwarzenegger the most impressive bodybuilder? I mean, technically, he's probably the most famous in history, so the answer is yes. Simon says, can I count half a set for my legs if I do 1 set of sumo? I mean, if you're doing ultra low volumes, no, I wouldn't even count that. Like, it's just not going to be enough. If you're not getting enough total volume, if you're only doing 2 sets for your quads and you start adding a little sumo in and you're trying to count it for half sets, but I wouldn't do that. Other than body fat, biceps, and delts, which is your next biggest weak point, I almost feel like my chest could be starting to become, maybe, but mainly still just have to get leaner, tighten that waistline up. Honestly, I don't even know that arms are the thing. I've had a few people point out, like, dude, your arms are kind of caught up a lot. I think if I just get leaner and a little more tricep, they'll be pretty proportionate at this point. I don't know that they're that big of a weakness anymore. I just got to get tighter. Rondo says Twitch is Amazon-based platform, so you're missing a big venue growth. Maybe. Still the time commitment in. Gunkel says, I'm sorry you put up with all these weird comments. Keep it up, son. Appreciate it, brother. Appreciate it. All right. Apu says, what happened if you train hard but don't eat enough when you get ripped but not bigger? I mean, in theory, people gain muscle as novices in depth. I mean, Apu, if you're not jacked already, it's like you're a non-advanced lifter, you're still in the novice category, you'll gain muscle on 100 grams of protein a day and a small calorie surplus if your training is dialed in. And I'm sorry, that's the reality. So if you're gaining no muscle, but you're not losing weight dramatically, like you're not in some sort of big deficit, you're not gaining muscle, your training is the problem. Okay. Unless you're trying to eat 30 grams of protein a day or something. I mean, something ridiculously low. The sport of bodybuilding, why everyday people are avoiding free weights and doing machines. I don't have a problem with machines. It's just as long as they fill in the gaps for what you're doing. They have their place, but I don't think people should be avoiding free weights. I think it's a lack of knowledge, fear, everything else. Sam, salute your son. For those not understanding the Moonkiki, that was the middle name of my ex-girlfriend, one of my ex-girlfriends, one of several who YouTube world is aware of. She's been on my channel a dozen plus times. We were together. Yes, her real legal name was Moon Cookie, her middle name. Let's get rid of that. All right. Tyrone says, any plans to compete in bodybuilding? Shows you're pretty close to stage ready. No, dude, I don't think I'm close to stage ready, honestly. Semina says, I watched some of your old chin-ups for bicep growth videos. How much percentage of bicep growth do you get from chin-ups? I don't know. How do you like that answer? I don't know. What sport would you be doing if you didn't lift? I don't know. Maybe 3 on. On a random note, Bulgaria got its first gold medal in weightlifting in the Olympics 20 years ago. Yeah. Alan P. Alan, are you former client, Alan P.? What have you found is the optimal diet to balance both muscle gain and anti-inflammation longevity? That would technically be eating nothing but whole foods. Okay. If your goal was to absolutely maximize the anti-inflammation but the longevity, okay, I would not run crazy high protein in that case. I would run high protein, but I wouldn't be doing 300 grams. Start doing that stuff like those optimal intakes, like 100, 150 grams a day. Eat all whole foods. Focus on grains, fruits, vegetables, whole grains, fruits, vegetables. Maybe throw a little bit of healthy fat in. And that would probably be your best balance for that set of goals. All right. Simonus, yeah, I did change my views on that, but that doesn't mean that I have an answer to your question. My back says, thoughts on Shizzy, influencer doing the 100 pull legs for versus lack of back development. I did that. I don't have thoughts on it other than I wish him good luck, man. I got injured doing it. What's your favorite cake? I don't know. I haven't had cake in so long. I don't even have an answer. So I need to just make something up. I'm going to go with red velvet cake. I don't think I've had cake even once in the last year, though. Jason, do you miss your conjugate days when you were squatting 500 pounds with a bunch of specialty bars? No, I still have a bunch of specialty bars. If I missed it, I would just jump in and do it. This is not a strength question. Have you played Fallout London? I haven't played any video games at all this year. article says my wife refuses to eat beef. I might have failed as a man. No, it's all right. If she doesn't want to eat beef, she don't want to eat beef. What's the problem? You know, no big deal, dude. Why will you have failed as a man just because your wife doesn't want to eat beef? I'm not seeing the connection here. Sorry, my neck was getting a crick in it. What have you found to be the pros and cons of doing 2 regular leg days a week versus 1 pull based and 1 push based? The joints and everything. As you get older, I find the higher frequency of beating those same movement patterns starts to hurt. The once a week works a lot better, I've noticed, as we get older, for just not getting joint pain. Simon is no, I wouldn't be able to go down and figure out every single viewpoint that I've adjusted. Just get current with what I have to say these days. It's problem solved. Because I don't really feel like sitting down making that list, man. I just flow with it. Limitless is eating meat a manly thing in your opinion? So I hear people say if they don't eat it, no, I don't think so. And I grew up on a ranch. I've done my share of hunting when younger. Not a big deal, dude. I don't think there's anything magically manly about eating meat. It just isn't. Someone mentioned this earlier. Alex Leonidas collabing with someone like Bean Game Shows True Color. He's collabed with way worse people than that. I mean, what more can I say? I mean, at least, how do I put this? We can disagree with Richard on a lot of things, but at least he has a moral position that at least makes some sense, right? And I'm not saying I agree with him, and I'm not saying he hasn't done some messed up stuff. But I mean, if we're gonna be objective, he's at least consistent in his moral opinion, right? And at least there's at least a chain of logic to it, instead of some of the other really crazy yahoos that Alex has collabed with, right? All right. And as far as animal welfare stuff goes, there's a lot of people who are big in animal welfare. I mean, it's not, I mean, it really isn't that unusual of a position. All right. Will you ever make a cooking or recipe video? I have trouble cooking food. I don't think you would enjoy my cooking. Do you use only the Instant Pot to cook your meals? I mean, I grill and roast when I do meat. But mostly when I'm cutting, I want my food to be relatively bland. So like what I'm eating like these days, it's very minimally seasoned. I want it to be bland intentionally right now. It keeps my appetite under much, much better control while I'm working on getting leaner. So no, I don't really do anything special. Blaha grill stream would be a goat material. I'm not doing much grilling right now. I mean, eventually, when I make some other changes and some things going in my life, and I'm more open about certain parts of my life down the road, maybe do some grilling and stuff. But I don't eat a lot of meat. I mean, so people need to remember that too. I'm mostly plant-based. I mean, I do eat some animal products every day, but I don't necessarily eat meat every day. And I don't eat enormous amounts of it. My diet is like 80+% plant-based. But I mean, I do grill a little bit. Yeah. And I do grill some meat. Limitless because it's healthier. All right. Jordan, I'm not going to talk about my Pinot, bro. Sorry. Rondo says, Instant meat just makes the food mushy. I like some crunch and texture. Well, what is it I'm cooking in? It's mostly rice, potatoes, beans, you know. Chris, I don't have a grill right now. I bake in the oven. All right. When you talk about 10 sets a week per muscle group, do you count all variations in the bench press like closed grip? TKS, I honestly don't have an answer to that. You can count it however you want. Because are we talking minimums? Are we talking maximums? Right? So I don't really even know what you're asking me. Like, am I counting the closed grip versus wide grip as what? As sets? Or do you mean sets for specific muscles? All right. Are you going to rebrand channel and name? No, don't intend to. Yes, the pot has air fryer lid. You can buy a separate air fryer stuff. It's a game changer. Oh, I didn't know that. I did not know that. All right. The sport, it got damaged. It is what it is. I'm not going to get into all that. I wasn't using it diligently anyways. All right. Chris West said, I have really bad range of motion from years of training with poor form. Unfortunately, is this how it will be for the rest of life? It might be. Does microwaves cause cancer? There's zero evidence to suggest that it would. Limitless, I don't just really discuss my personal life. Have you ever seen the movie Owning Mahoney? Not only have I never seen it, I've never even heard of it. All right. Until now. Until now. I don't know why there's a poster who's obsessed with that Mr. always calls me Mr. Mahoney. I guess I need to figure out if he's insulting me or not, right? Because I don't actually know the reference. I'm not sure if he's being complimentary or insulting me. Chris, there is no straightforward answer to your question. There is no straightforward answer to your question. That is so context dependent. All right, Mike Jessen, just you cited. I don't discuss politics. However, I'm for any politician pushing Make America Healthy Again. Tom Platt says, genuine question, how to maximize erection quality. While I appreciate your donation, brother, I don't know the answer to your question, unfortunately. Maybe you could consider going to a channel that discusses that sort of stuff, right? That would be an option. So maybe go find a channel by a medical doctor, like a urologist or someone who specializes in that, and ask him, because I don't know. I mean, you're not going to like my answer. I'll give you an answer. Eat the poo nanny. Instant. Right there. Bam. That's all it takes. That's it. 100% success rate. You're good. It'll be solid for the next half hour. All right. Says RFK Jr. is Jack. Did you see the video of him incline benching 225? I think I did, actually. But again, I don't want to discuss politicians and political leaders in my channel. I mean, I guess maybe since he is training and that, I guess it's not so much politics though, isn't it? But again, here's the thing I would say with fitness. Given our health and obesity and lack of fitness in the U.S., I'm going to say any political leader, irrespective of their ideology or party affiliation, if they're going to promote actual health and fitness in America, that should be seen as a positive thing, no matter who they like. We should step back and say, okay, you got to give them credit for that, right? And I think that's a fair position on it. Whether you like them or not on any other topic, how you feel about them shouldn't change the fact that we can at least appreciate if they do that. Maybe Both sides will start doing it. Like, how great would that be if maybe both sides of the aisle say, hey, this is probably important. We should work on this. How great would that be? Maybe there's some area of middle ground for us as a society. What about nitric oxide supplement? Well, I don't know. I've never used stuff like that. Why don't you just get healthier and fitter? Get your blood pressure under control, get your diet under control, maybe get your testosterone levels checked. Those things are sorted. If there's anything wrong there, you need to consult a doctor or you talk to a therapist. It could be psychological. I don't have an answer for you because I cannot relate. I've just never had that sort of problem. So I can't relate, brother. Sorry. It's outside of my worldview. What core exercise would you have for athletes other than basic leg raises? I feel like most oblique movements, rotation, all that are either awkward. Don't worry about it, man. Just do some weighted crunches. Is becoming a world powerlifting champion still on the bucket list? No, not really. Coach, there is an oldish man in my gym whose head turned dark red after each set. Told me he may want to talk to a doctor. He doesn't seem concerned. Is this something? Well, maybe he could go talk. That's his purview. It could be. Might be an issue. It might not. When in doubt, consult your doctor. Top 5 vitamins you'd recommend? 5? Damn, son. Top 5? Are you implying that there's more than a top 5 or that we should be taking 5 different vitamins? I can't get my head around that one. How bad is your diet? Are you like doing a carnivore diet or something where you're not eating vegetables? Are you cutting out entire food groups? Are you like get zero sunlight? Like, what's happening to where you think there would be any reason to supplement 5 different vitamins? Try eating some broccoli. You've been outspoken in your support of Ozempic. Have you or any of your clients taken it? I only have one client who takes Ozempic, actually. And it's not that I'm that outspoken. I'm really not. What I dislike is personal trainers making a big deal about something instead of letting it be between their doctors and acting like they have this amazing medical knowledge on it when they clearly don't. And they're clearly not concerned with, hey, we have a problem and people need to resolve it by any means necessary. My issue is the cultural backlash inside the fitness world instead of saying, you know what, we as a society got problems and we're going to have to tackle it from multiple angles. And if some people need to talk to a medical doctor to get a prescription, that is still a better option than running around 100 pounds overweight. It will save lives. That's the issue of saying, hey, we need to be tackling this by every means necessary. This is such a pervasive, enormous problem for us as a society that we absolutely need to be looking at every possible solution to tackle it. Promoting diet and exercise, changing food availability, changing our culture, our cultural views, the way we deal with trauma, our relationships with food, medications, whatever we have to do. And anyone who's not willing to do that is clearly not taking the problem seriously. All right. Sparta, how long does it take to get a 600 deadlift for natty? I don't know if you answered this because there is no time frame. The average natural will never deadlift 600 pounds. It's just reality. So do you see the problem? Tell me, will the genetically average, completely normal, middle of the road, average genetic guy, how long will it take them to deadlift 600 pounds naturally? They probably won't. The average one of them could spend 10 years working on it, and there's a 90% chance they won't reach it. Maybe you should set the bar lower. And it doesn't matter that someone with amazing genetics, well, this other guy did 700 pounds in 3 years. Well, he's a genetic freak. The average natural is not going to deadlift 600 pounds drug-free. Maybe if they, with perfect programming and everything dialed in, it might take them 10 years. Maybe if they ever reach it. So keep that in mind in the context with your question. What's your opinion on teams? I don't have an opinion on. I haven't seen anything about them in so many years. I forgot they even exist. So I don't have an opinion. What's the likelihood of lower back pain on a D-line crunches? Shouldn't be an issue. I've never noticed all the stuff in the background with Xbox games. I haven't been playing any video games. Actually just got rid of a bunch of them. I don't need these. That's my Series 1. I mostly use it to watch shows because that's my older TV I keep in this office. And because it doesn't have a lot of stuff, it's not like a smart TV like my other ones. And it's kind of just my little office TV. I watch shows and stuff on there in between stuff or while I'm painting. So I keep it plugged in for that. I don't game anymore though, but I think that's Skyrim sitting there. I haven't played a video game in a year. What's the minimum fat intake to have an optimal hormone production? There is none. There's no actual correlation there. It's just not that big of a deal. The only real fats you're eating should be overly concerned with are your essential ones, right? And you only need a few grams of those for health. So I mean, it's kind of like you're saying, just fat for optimal hormone production. Why would you think all fats are necessarily of value there? Fat's a very broad category. Getting a 275 bench at 200 was gosh dang struggle with my 6'8" wingspan. 600 deadlift was literally easier. Yeah, and you're not genetically average. You got long arms. That's a genetic trait, an unusual genetic trait. Matt says, I see people doing seated barbell curls exercise worth trying or BS because of lack of range of motion. Man, we could get into that argument all day, couldn't we? I would argue mechanically because of the lack of range of motion, but lots of guys have got really jacked arms doing that movement. So what's the answer? I don't know. All right, guys, it's like 8 o'clock. I need to wind this down, start winding down for the evening. So I'm going to go ahead and shut this down. I hope it's been informative. I love all of you guys and gals, and I will talk to you next time.